Good morning to you. It's the 22nd of May, it's Monday, it's 8:30 in the morning. I'm up early and I'm looking out over the Castlereagh Hills and the pastoral scene here. So where exactly am I? Well, I'm about a mile from home and I'm at the highest point in the Castlereagh Hills apparently. That's Strangford Loch down here, so the views are pretty good. And this is, I'm just off the Lisnabreeny Road. There's a car just flying past, everybody heading to their work and really sinking the boot. And there's a little car park here, you wouldn't even know that it's here. And this is National Trust Property, Lisnabreeny. I'm going to turn myself off here. There we go. I'm in the car this morning. Should be on the bike, but just jumped into the car. And there's a little laneway here. And up on the right is a rath or fort. And I remember these trees on the right hand side being put in a lot of years ago. I'm just standing along here. I want you to see this because this fort or rath dates back centuries and it's obviously a high point, you know, probably was connected with Con O'Neill, last Gaelic lord, 12th century. Whenever we're talking about a fort, we're talking about an old defended farm site, maybe 2 or 3 farms. And here's what we've got. If you're on the dual carriageway, the Bangor to Belfast dual carriageway, or the Knock dual carriageway as we call it, then you'll go past Cregagh Glen. So if you go to the bottom of Cregagh Glen and climb up and up and up along the glen, you'll eventually come to what is it? Another road which is in front of Lagan College. It's the Cairns Hill Road. I'm not too sure. And then if you cross the road at the bridge and come up past Lagan College, climb the steep incline, you will come eventually to this fort. And there's a handy signboard here, and I'm going to read it to you. This is Lisnabreeny Rath, set on the highest point in the Castlereagh Hills. Impressive rath which lends its name to the townland of Lisnabreeny, from the Irish Laos Nabruna, meaning Fort of the Fairy Palace. Isn't that nice? Fort of the Fairy Palace. So were there leprechauns and all such like here? I don't know. Early Christian Ireland. Most raths or ring forts were built and used from the 6th to 9th century, so it's actually older than what I'm thinking, and were enclosed farmsteads of an extended family. Safe behind a bank and ditch, the rath would contain a house, usually circular and built of wood along with some associated outbuildings and space for the family's livestock, which could also be taken inside the Rath at times of danger. So it's one big roundhouse by the sound of this. While Raths provided refuge from wild animals and fast-moving cattle raiding parties, they are most likely constructed as a show of wealth by the individual in control of the area, in this case the farmer living within the petty kingdom of Blanmac, who are part of the thei Falac. I don't know, no, that's not a good way to pronounce it. Thei Fatak or Ulid kingdom. Lisnabreeny Rath is one of the 9 Raths in this area dating back to the early Christian times, of which 5 have survived. I wonder where those other 5 are. So there you go. And the former American military burial site is on down this pathway here. And I have videoed it a few times. So let's go into the Rath. And the main problem for people living in these extended family farmsteads was, people coming raiding, cattle raiders, fast moving, and they were not only after your cattle, they were after your wife and your daughter, for obvious reasons. So this is the kind of area that we've got here. I would just love to go back in time and see how this operated. You can imagine that the countryside beyond, and I'll actually walk around the rim. The countryside beyond was totally forested, and it would be really easy to launch a raid to steal cattle or women. So you had to have it defended properly, and many people built souterrains as well to this end, and these were underground tunnels where they could hide with traps and all the rest of it in them. Here's how you break your ankle. And something's been sitting on that tree. This is a nest. This is a starling's nest, and they're going daft. This is a starling's nest. I think I'm at the nest. Where are they? Or a blackbird's nest. I think it's a starling. I think it's a starling, yeah. Ooh, that's the hawthorn. Just squeaking about. Don't see any bird, but there should be a bird. There it is. Starling. That's where it's nested, and I was annoying it. Anyway, these are the views you can get. Yes, they built souterrains down in many of these Raths, and I have videoed 1 or 2 of them. Very, very few of them left, because farmers have filled them in for the danger of cattle and all the rest of it falling down into one. So you've got views over Strangford Lough, and just over that rise there you can see the whole of Belfast. So you can see any Viking ships or any approaching danger up from that way and from Strangford Lough. Great vantage point this. And of course, if you spotted anything, you could light fires to warn your neighbouring farmsteads of impending danger. There's the hawthorn again, and a few bluebells still out. I could go that way, but I don't think so. I think I'll go back to where I started off. Don't want to break my neck. The ground is very, grass is very wet. I'll go down this wee way. Hopefully I'll not wreck myself. Right, I'm going to take a dander along the path here. So that's where I was all round. And I remember the boys from the National Trust putting in the hedge on both sides of me here. What was it, 25 years ago? I don't know. And they were just simple wee stalks of plants, shrubs. Look at them now. And this would be a great place to watch the longest day, the sunrise in June. The sun will be coming up from over there. I might just do that, I don't know. I did it before at Cregagh. So this is what you get. You get the whole place opening out for you. And there's the Black Mountain and Divis and Cave Hill further on round. There's the Cave Hill there. There's a view over Belfast. London roof cranes prominent. Tower block, City Hospital tower block. This down this way in the yellow. And this whole area has been built up. None of these houses was here, 60, 70 years ago. And I'm talking about the houses in the foreground. All new. A lot of people coming in to live in this area. Very mixed. And there's a remnant of the past. There's one of the farmhouses still surviving in this area. And I presume these are the cattle belonging to that farm. But sooner or later he'll sell up and And there's the Whin, and this is and a wee bumblebee floating about. And this was known as Whinny Hill. A lot of places were known as Whinny Hill because of the winds. And this is as far as I'm going to go, because it gets steep and you have to climb back up again. But that's Lagan College down in there. Integrated secondary school, the way schools should be. That's part of the problem with Northern Ireland. I honestly believe that the fact that our children are educated in separate schools has been part of our, it has been a contributory factor to the Troubles and the isolation of one community, Protestant community, from the Roman Catholic community or Catholic community. I think it's been bad. None of the political parties are really pushing to get this sorted. But that's another story. And there's the buses going down into Lagan College. Great vantage point. And the buses come from as far as down the Ards Peninsula. Unbelievable distances that youngsters have to travel to get an integrated secondary school of note. But anyway, I'm coming back. I'm rambling on as usual. That's one of the marks of a good teacher. At least I think so anyway. There's the more blue buses going down in. Something like 30 buses go in every day. A good teacher can ramble on and is never phased. So here's what it says. Memories of Castlereagh. The spectacular views from Lisnabreeny Hill offer an extensive panorama over Belfast and the Loch, and you can see as far as the Hollywood Hills and swathes of beautiful countryside of Down and Antrim. And that's what we were looking at. The site of well, we weren't looking at that actually, but this is the site of Con O'Neill's castle. Uniquely for the area, this Castlereagh field enclosed by a wall rather than a hedgerow. I'm not too sure where they're pointing that out, because I searched for Con O'Neill's castle and I couldn't find it. Well, I had my ideas. There are two sites, but yeah. And Con O'Neill was the great Ulster chieftain, would have appreciated the commanding views from his stronghold at Cregagh Castle. Now Cregagh Castle is away over the hill there. It's about a mile distance away as well. Con O'Neill clan had long dominated this part of Ulster, and much of their vast territory, which stretched from Ballymena to Downpatrick. It was vast. After a clash with Crown troops in 1602, which ended in the death of an English soldier, Conn was arrested. He was rescued and then spirited away to Scotland, but he took refuge in a Bangor Cathedral spire before he was taken off to Scotland. Ultimately, he was forced to grant 2/3 of his land to Montgomery and his fellow planter James Hamilton. These were Scottish planters that had come in, and Conn O'Neill was easy to manipulate, and he was forced with basically trumped up charges to give over 2/3 of his land, and basically it was stolen. His final resting place is believed to be Knock Burial Ground. Now, I have never heard that before. I thought that he had possibly been buried off the Belmont Road, and I have done a video on that. There's a wee bit of telling you how to explore in this area. Castlereagh Presbyterian Church, and I've done a video of that. I've been inside it. It is thought that Grey Castle was located very near the Castlereagh Presbyterian Church today. First Presbyterian church built on the site catered for a large number of Scots Presbyterians who had settled in the area as a result of the Hamilton-Montgomery plantation. And here's all about the Rath. If you continue on up the hill, you will see the Rath, the remains of a fortified settlement. And the one on 9 dates back to early Christian times. 5 have survived. From this vantage point, inhabitants may have seen both Viking and Anglo-Normans begin their respective invasions. Cregagh Glen takes the path, and that's, if you follow that path on down, you will get to Cregagh Glen. I'll see if I can show you that on the video. One of Northern Ireland's and discover one of Northern Ireland's most enjoyable walking environments. The glen still have remains of a forest that was once there, and they cover 1,000 acres. Mixed woodland here, sycamore beech, Scots pine, ash trees. There are several waterfalls and many different kinds of birds to look out for. Lisnabreeny Hill is also known locally as Winnie Hill, after the gorse or whin bushes that grow on the slopes. Right, so if you follow this path, not down onto the road here, but down onto the road over there where the cars are backed up to get into Lagan College, there's Lagan College, and if you cross the road, you cross the road, and that's down to the cemetery, the American cemetery. But you will get down the glen just behind those trees, and it's a very pleasant walk. But I'm rambling as usual, so I need to get back home because of 1 or 2 wee jobs to do. But I would love to go back in time and see how people lived back then. And there's Mr. Buzzard, I think. Yes, it is. He's floating about there, being mobbed. Okie dokie. See you soon. Hope you enjoyed that wee tramp around and enjoyed listening to my waffle. You're looking out towards Lisburn, further afield there.